Today we're going to start talking about how to solve quadratic equations, and the first method that you could use to solve quadratic equations is actually to look at the graph. So you could use the steps that we did last unit to graph a quadratic function and then look at the graph to find your answers. Today we're going to actually give you the graphs and have you find the solutions and explain what they mean. So, some vocab first. What does it mean to be a root of an equation? The solutions of a quadratic equation are called the roots of the equation. They're also called solutions, and they're related to the x-intercepts, or the zeros, of the quadratic function on the graph. We will use those four terms interchangeably: solutions, roots, zeros, x-intercepts. So make sure you know that they all mean the same thing when we're talking about quadratic equation. So there are three cases when we're finding solutions for quadratic equations. The first equation off to the right here is when the graph crosses the x-axis at 2 points. So you'll notice right here we have 1, 2 points. Now these are actually at decimals, so we would have to approximate them. They're somewhere between -4 and -5 and -1 and -2, but there are two solutions. The second case is when the graph only hits the quadratic function only hits the graph once, like this one. So we have one solution, and this is called a double root. This is kind of when we had something like this when we were solving or factoring. Okay. Third case is when the graph here never crosses the x-axis. My x-axis is down here. This is actually called when we have no real solutions, and we can use the empty set to show that. In Algebra 2, you're going to build on this and talk about how to use imaginary numbers to help you find those solutions. So for today, you have 2 points, which means you'll have two solutions. You have 1 point, which means you have one solution, or it never crosses, which means you have no real solutions. So let's actually look at some examples and then let you be on your way. Okay, first example. 3 graphs here for each quadratic equation. Identify the solutions using the graph. So in this first problem here, notice that my graph only touches here at this point. So we have 1, 2, 3. So it touches at the point 3, 0. That means my solution, or my root, or my zero, is actually going to be, let me change this here. My solution is actually going to be x equals 3. Okay, so if this is my x-intercept, my solution is x equals 3. And I'm not sure why we have red there. Okay. Second graph. Notice now on my x-axis I have 2 points here where it crosses. It crosses at 1, 2, so -2. And it also crosses at +1. So right here, +1. So we're going to have a comma and a +1. Okay, and then this third graph, if you look off to the right, is never going to cross the x-axis. So there are two ways you can write this. You can write no real solutions for your answer, or you can write that empty set, which is just a circle with a line through it. Okay, so that's all you're really doing, is you're looking for those x-intercepts, and those are actually your solutions. You do not need to write those as points, because we're actually finding an x value that gives you that. Go ahead and try these guided practice problems, have them checked out. We can give you your homework after that so you can practice, and then you can take the quiz to show that you're ready to move on. If you have any questions, let us know. Have a great day.